I'm sorry. Okay. So what I neglected to tell you all before, and please, this is so huge, and I'm so embarrassed that I didn't, was the reason why Quinn's performance, her reading was so brilliant, is because she was nominated for an Academy Award for The Good Guy Girl. That's her. And we could see it because she did every one of those characters. I try to do characters, they all sound the same. No.
Audiobook.
Audiobook. Yeah, you are doing the audiobook, right?
Audiobook. If it comes to that.
Yeah, it has to come to that. Because I'll do it in the car. I'd love to do it in the car. But no, yeah, I digress. Okay. So it turns out, like me, my book might be going through a change. Because somebody has a little issue with the name. They don't like Don't Jump. And actually, the thing was that when I first was writing my book for the first 5 years, because it was 10, you're talking about 1.5, 2 years, and like it's a big deal, and I'm sitting here, yeah. But anyway, so when I first started, my book secretly was called Why is Julia Roberts Living My Life? And I didn't tell anybody. I kept it a secret. Why is Julia Roberts living my life? Because that's really what it's about. Because that's really how I feel. But anyway, so I kept it a secret. I didn't tell anybody because I thought it was too good. Because I have an ego.
Love it.
Yeah. So I didn't tell anybody. So one day I moved out here and I'm in a room with industry people and I say it out loud for the first time. For the first time. And 8 months later a book comes out, I'm Not Julia Roberts. And it didn't go anywhere. I'm sorry, but it was a bomb. But anyway, but I felt dirty using the name now. It's ruined. So I didn't. So I changed it because I had a chapter in my book called If a Door Closes, a Window Opens, Don't Jump. And I thought, well, that, it works on a lot of levels. Don't jump, don't jump into things, don't jump into the mosh pit, take your time. Yeah, I'll get to how I jump with Stephen, but that's another story. But anyway, so now somebody who's reading the book doesn't like the name, and so I thought, well, could I go back to Why is Julia Roberts? Yeah, I can take it back. It was mine. I came up with something. Tell me if you like this. So now what I think I'm going to call, because I wanted something simpler, because that's a big title to remember. Wannabe. Why is Julia Roberts living my life? What do you think?
Yeah.
Because I'm a wannabe. I'm a wannabe everything. I'm a wannabe everything, right?
What you
Wannabe, and then the subtitle, Why is Julia Roberts living my life? What do you think?
Good.
No. Why is Julia Roberts living my life?
No, why? What? No,
I don't like the
it's too self-deprecating, but that's
not in a good way.
That was used. That title's old. Wannabe was used. It was a series, and it was a book.
See, this is what I'm asking you. Okay, so what?
Why isn't it I am Rocker?
I am woman. I think that was taken.
Isn't that like your name?
Rocco was my name, yeah.
Yeah, why are you not that?
I don't
That's
know.
so perfect. Because it's who you are. It's actually who you are. I mean, you go around and you make people stars. Seriously.
I make people what?
You make people stars. You pick people out and you go, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. You make them famous.
I make them famous. Stephen, I'm responsible for your career. No. Thank you. No, don't pay attention to me. I'm only saying, no, it's okay. Just talk amongst yourselves. It's okay. So, anyway, all right. Let's get to this. All right, I don't know what I'm all confused now. I don't know what to do. Maybe it's going to stay Don't Jump. I kind of like Don't Jump. What?
So just one person, you're changing it because one person didn't.
Well, but it could be one important person. So
who's more important than you?
Well, the person who might spend the oh, you know what happened since last time? Listen to this. This is really cool. Okay, this is really cool. This happened since last time. Somebody sent me a private message on Facebook and said, I don't know if I should say this out loud. I'm saying it out loud anyway, because I say everything out loud. Okay. There are no secrets in my world. So, much to my husband's chagrin. But anyway, so a guy Facebooked me and he said, I've been watching your stuff, I love your writing, and if there's anything that you need money for, if you need an investor, and he said, because I think, I'm going to say this out loud, I'm embarrassed, I think you're the funniest woman in America. Ah! So, I have a meeting with him tomorrow. So I didn't even know what to ask for him.
Is he married?
No, he's divorced, but no, it's not like that. He's like, it's business. It's really
you
business.
are hot, so yeah.
No, but he's been totally. It's been like no flirt, just straight up. But I didn't even know what to ask for. So you know what I'm going to ask for? This is what I'm going to ask for first. I want my own podcast. I want a crew to come in and shoot. And then I want to do Women Who Write, take the 3 hours that we are and break it up into 4 weeks with interview segments that I'll do on the side, and put it in with the readings, and then the videos will still be on YouTube, but it'll be an audio podcast so you can listen to it when you're at the gym, when you're driving in your car. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then maybe Oprah will get hit.
Coffee pot.
So, and I want a coffee pot. I'm gonna ask, that's right, I'm gonna ask him for a coffee pot. You're so smart. Okay, so, all right, so I was considering, you know, I've been reading my book out loud to you guys for 3 1/4 years now. It's been 3 1/4 years, a chapter, it's a long book, a chapter a month for 3 1/4 years. And I was going to skip this chapter, but I haven't skipped one chapter. I've read it faithfully, and I was going to skip this one because you know what I'm going through a divorce, and as you'll see, this is kind of the opposite of that. And I thought, oh, is that a little weird? But then I thought, no, this is fitting. This is fitting because it's a reminder. It's a reminder to me and to all of us that good things can happen. They don't always have to. Yeah. So I'm reading it. I'm going to read it as it is. Okay. So what you need to know is that Andy is a 30-something rock and roll promoter in New York. It's 1990. Oh yeah, he proposed to her last time. So her fiance is Lenny, and he's a stand-up comic. He was her comedy teacher. And if you listen to that story on Storyworthy, you kind of got that thing over there. Nobody listened, I know. But you're going to go home and do that. And okay, and Barry, who was the love triangle, he's gone. He's gone to LA, so he's not a problem. And Andy's building this new rock club called Blue Room, and she's trying to make it a thing. It's brand new. And she works for this guy, Peeps and Billy, and they're hot. They have hot blue eyes and hot blue jeans, and they're hot. And it makes Lenny a little jealous. And okay, so Andy's mother is Cookie, and her father is Jerry. And Lenny's mother is Ellie, and his father is Samuel. And you don't have to remember any of that because I think I got it covered. Okay. And it's called I Do, Part 2. A few months before the wedding, Lenny took me on my first cruise. He was contracted to do 3 shows a week, which came out to a few hours' work in total. In exchange, not only was he compensated handsomely, but he also got to bring me along, both of us enjoying full passenger status. Unlike the ship we'd lunched on, on this liner, it was one of the oldest and grandest. We had a surprisingly large cabin with enough room to walk around. It had twin beds, which weren't ideal, but it was doable, and decent closet space. Most tables in the dining room were for 6 or more to engage social interaction. When the comics brought their wives or girlfriends, they were almost always seated amongst a group of favored passengers to keep them happy and entertained. Somehow we lucked into a table for 2 and were spared the small talk. We were left alone to just amuse each other. Prior to my life with Lenny, I'd barely been anywhere. Frank and I honeymooned in the Bahamas, and I'd been to Mexico a few times with Seth, my high school sweetheart. We camped on the beach and ate on the cheap. I was unprepared for cruise glamour. Once again, the imposter. I felt like Kate Winslet appeared to feel in Titanic. Only I never got wet, except when I chose to. Yeah. There were moonlit nights, pina coladas while the steel drums played, lobster and shrimp, plenty of weed, sunbathing, working out, and sightseeing on magnificent isles. We were fit, tan, and madly in love. As soon as we returned home, things got insane. Working full-time to get Blue Room on the map, traveling with Lenny on the weekends, and trying to figure out the whole wedding thing kept me on my toes. Where to do it? Who to invite? Who would pay? Cookie had already thrown me one over-the-top Jewish wedding. How many of those should one parent have to bear? She offered Lenny and I some cash to stay out of the whole deal. We gratefully accepted. But that left the planning to me. I wanted something more intimate and mature the second time around. But it was Lenny's first and hopefully last wedding, and I wanted it to be all that and more for him. With all of our grandparents deceased, neither of our extended families were very close, basically only gathering for weddings and funerals. I resented Lenny's mom, Ellie, and his intellectual aunts, who didn't seem to think much of me. I wanted to be surrounded by the people that celebrated us, our friends, the family of our choosing, not the ones that despised us, me, shit. Who was boss. I justified only inviting the family members that were active in our lives. The ones I absolutely had to. That didn't go over real big. Pricing restaurants and halls was a nightmare. There was no way we could afford even the 100 or so guests that we had narrowed it down to. And then a light bulb went off. Publicist that I was, I envisioned marrying right there in Blue Room. It was freshly renovated. Everything was brand spanking new, all stainless steel, black, white, and blue. A restaurant as well. It was extremely upscale for a rock club. Peeps got only the best. There was a large stage, perfect for a ceremony and a band to follow, and it had a dance floor. The more I thought about it, the more sense it made. I figured I could get the club a decent amount of publicity hatching such a stunt, and in the process get a cut-rate deal on the food and on the space. The kitchen served fabulous, way better than average Chinese, which fit in nicely with a Jewish wedding. Since we weren't having the extended family, I didn't have to worry about my Orthodox relatives, so there was no problem with the non-kosher cuisine. I asked the choicest sidemen to play. Stan Bronstein, who played saxophone in John Lennon's Elephant's Memory, led my dream band, graciously agreeing to do it for dirt. We were spared the usual schmaltzy wedding band that charges big money to play cheesy music. Our family rabbi agreed to officiate and bring a chuppah, a traditional canopy under which all good Jews are wed. I tried to sweeten the deal for Peeps and Billy by choosing a slow club day, a Monday, Labor Day. Knowing it would be a dead night for them, they were grateful for the guarantee. We agreed on a fair price, where they would make more than they would otherwise, hopefully get some free press, and Lenny and I would save a bundle. What I hadn't figured on was the aggravation factor. The staff decided they deserved to party like everyone else since they were our friends too. They ate, drank, and danced, leaving the rest to me. There I was in my fitted white satin tiered strapless Pila Rossi knee-length cocktail dress, perfect for a second wedding, running down to the kitchen to try to get the hors d'oeuvres out. I was in a sweat before the I do's. Lenny and I had spent the night before apart, superstition and all that. Our first night alone in a long time. It added an extra touch of magic to the day. Before the guests arrived, we posed for pictures, signed the ketubah, a Jewish wedding marriage license, and did a quick rehearsal with the wedding party. Paulette, my new aunt-in-law, angrily reminded me of all the relatives that I hadn't invited. Lenny's dad, Samuel, was arguing with Ellie, Lenny's mom, and wouldn't pay attention. As the wedding planner and bride, I was trying to get things moving and be a gracious daughter-in-law at the same time, failing miserably at both. We finally got through at once, just as the guests began arriving. Disappearing downstairs, hoping not to be seen until the ceremony, I was pacing like an alley cat in heat. I knew this was right. I knew it was meant to be. Why was I so nervous? Who knew what was going on up there? I hate being out of the loop on anything. I'm one of those people that sleeps little, afraid that I'll miss something. The last to bed, the first to rise, I'm persistently suffering from exhaustion, self-torture for no purpose other than fear. What exactly do I think I'm going to miss at 1 a.m.? Plex, a renowned pianist who for love and friendship took the most thankless role of all, played electric organ while our guests took their seats. As the room filled to capacity, he began processional music. Jerry had already given me away once. Far from Daddy's little girl at 35, I realized I was giving myself to Len, so I asked Jerry to walk Ellie down the aisle. Always the gentleman, he agreed. Samuel and Claudine followed Cookie and Cy, who were then followed by David, Lenny's best man, and finally Mary Ann, my maid of honor, who brought up the rear. Bean, my best friend since college, should have shared the honor, but I shied away from it. What bride had a male attendant in those days? I wish I'd been more innovative, one of a number of my wedding day regrets. As Plex began the traditional bridal march, I raced down the aisle, quick, lest that gorgeous young man get away. Taking my place next to Lenny under the canopy, the depth of my good fortune filled my heart with love and my eyes with tears. Shit, not now. I wasn't wearing waterproof mascara. Control, Andy, control. I stole a glance at Lenny. He never looked more handsome, radiant, and in love than he did on that day. I couldn't even discern his terror. Rabbi Resnick began, thank you. Hebrew. With happiness and joy, we thank God for this blessing of love which we celebrate today, formally consecrating the love of Andy Stone and Leonard Blakeman for each other. May they always rejoice, and may their love be graced by the light through their mutual affection. Open their eyes to the beauty and mystery of the love they hold for one another. May their life together embrace and enrich in the promise of this moment, so that all who know them will call them truly blessed. Hebrew, Hebrew, Hebrew. The rabbi instructed Lenny to put the ring on the fourth finger of my right hand, as is Jewish tradition. I looked down to see that it was not the mate to my engagement ring that we had purchased, but rather the matching band to Lenny's that I'd coveted. I was overcome. Lenny whispered, "I wanted you to have it. I have the other one for you as well." Oh, a man that could surprise me, not once but twice. I was truly blessed. Lenny repeated after the rabbi, "By this ring you are consecrated unto me as my wife in accordance with Moses and the people of Israel." Then I repeated, "In accepting this ring, I pledge my love and devotion." The rabbi read from the ketubah. Hebrew, Hebrew, Hebrew. The ketubah, witnessed on the second day of the week, the second day of the month, the holy covenant of marriage was entered into by Leonard Blakeman, bridegroom, and Andy Stone, his bride, Blue Room, First Avenue, New York City. Titters of amused laughter. Conscious of the solemn obligation, Lenny made the following declaration to his bride. "Be thou consecrated unto me by the laws of Moses and the people of Israel. I will love, honor, and cherish thee. I will protect and support thee. I will faithfully care for thy needs in accordance with Jewish tradition." Andy made the following declaration to her groom. "In accepting the marriage ring, I pledge to you my love and devotion. I take upon myself the fulfillment of all the duties." Duties? What duties? "And the covenant upon being a Jewish wife." The bride and groom then declared, the rabbi then said, "The bride and groom then together declare that they have signed this ketubah of their own free will without reservation. They intend to be bound by this holy covenant so that they shall all," so I'm really screwing this up, "so long as they both shall live. Amen." The rabbi had me take Lenny's ring, place it on his ring finger, and how come his doesn't go somewhere first? I've never figured that out. "With this ring you are my husband, and it's a sign of my love and devotion." "My dear Andy and Lenny," the rabbi continued, "I have to share with you that yesterday was my wedding anniversary. My wife and I have been married for 34 years, but the two of you created some problems for me. For the past month or so, my wife's been trying to get me to take a haircut, but I didn't dare because I wanted to be able to look in keeping with the ambiance of this place." The crowd roared. Rabbi Resnick went on. "So we've been going back and forth at it, and somehow, as we always do, we resolved it. I know that people always talk about a wedding as a very solemn moment. It's really not so much solemn as it is serious, because it's festive. It's a time to laugh, to look forward and ahead with all the verve and delight that I know the two of you are going to share. It's always a pleasure to stand under a chuppah with a young couple who are willing, who mean enough to one another to stand in public. It's easy to say I love you in private. It gets a little more difficult when you stand in front of 100 or so people. I know the two of you are used to standing in front of people, waxing eloquent and getting laughs. And yet I've been watching you both for the past hour, and there's some nervousness, a bit of quivering, because it's a serious moment. It's a very beautiful time to be getting married. This coming Sunday evening in the Jewish calendar ushers in Rosh Hashanah, the New Year. In a special and meaningful way, the two of you have really ushered in your own Rosh Hashanah. There's a special beauty in being able to connect your personal life with the period of the year in which people from the Jewish tradition think and care very deeply about relationship. That's what Rosh Hashanah is about. And I don't know where I am. About mending what's happened and looking forward to a new year, a new start. And I would suggest to you that if you could take your example from the High Holy services, and here too, it's a serious day but not a solemn one. It's an upbeat day because in very characteristic Jewish fashion, we know we have it made. We might not exactly be what we wanted to be last year, but we can start fresh with a brand new year. If the two of you, for all the years to come, could take each day as a Rosh Hashanah, have that same sense of excitement, that specialness that you feel for one another, and recycle it over and over again, so that when you're apart, the world lights up when you come together. The world feels better because you're there for one another. In a few moments, we're going to step on the glass, and I'm asked why we do it. sense of sadness, and it's almost a lesson to the bride and groom. The lesson is that we're getting married for the totality and range of relationship. We're getting married to enjoy, to laugh together. I've learned as I peek at my own marital roots that it's really not that difficult to get somebody to laugh with you. It's more important to have somebody you love when times are hard. You know that it's not difficult to find someone to laugh with you. You just stand up there in front of a microphone, and if your routine is good, they laugh. It's not that easy to get somebody who's willing to cry with you. And certainly not easy to get somebody who discovers that in sharing the difficult times, the relationship is made even stronger. In the outside world, we're supposed to be good winners and good losers. You know if you're a good winner and your day's been great, you can boast. You can't boast. If the day's been lousy and everything's gone wrong, you're not allowed to cry about it. It's not being brave. It's not being adult. But within the bonds of marriage, you can boast to one another and know that that's what you're really there for. And you can cry with one another and know that you're also there for that too. So you're getting married. And I know that if I stand here for an hour, I really could not tell you what it means to have the most challenging, most difficult, most wonderful of human relationships, to be somebody's mate. You, my friends, will discover that as the years go by. Just keep in mind that you want to constantly recycle the relationship. Keep it fresh, keep it new, keep it vital, and make sure it remains the most important thing you have going on in your lives. Every day, a Rosh Hashanah. If you do, then this moment will be a precious one for all the years to come. The room was moist with emotion. Rabbi Resnick nodded to my dad. Jerry, taking his cue, sang the Hebrew blessings with showbiz passion. Everybody cheered. The rabbi continued, "It's always the singers who get the applause." The crowd laughed uproariously. The joke, though funny, got even more than it deserved because everyone's nerve endings were so close to the surface. We were raw. Rabbi Resnick had touched us. He put his arms out in front of him over our heads, sort of, he wasn't that tall, and he began to chant, Hebrew, Hebrew, Hebrew. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord give kindly and with grace as you share the years to come. May he make his presence felt in your lives and those precious to you, his wondrous of blessings, blessings for peace, peace for you and all of mankind this day, peace for the people of Israel. And say you, amen. Since the two of you have joined voluntarily in ceremony, in accordance with the laws of the state of New York, and following the hallowed precepts of the people of Israel, you, Lenny, and you, Andy, are now husband and wife. Sorry. Through the tears and the joy, Lenny and I kissed. A heartfelt soul kiss. Lipstick, onlookers, and all. Onlookers? Onlookers and all. Unlike last time, this love I knew would be forever. Decide whether or not to read that, because I thought I might have trouble with it. But you know what? I wanted to read it because, well, first of all, I think the rabbi's words were amazing. I want you to know that I sat down with my wedding video, and it took me I can't tell you how many days. I transcribed word by word everything that came out of his mouth. And he's married me twice, so I like the guy. But, you know, I really love what he says about union, about marriage. If I only could have done it. But it gives me hope.
When you put, what my ex-husband told me, when you put your foot on the glass, it's the last time he was putting his foot down.
Whoa! You know, and I also like the way he explained the Jewish tradition too. I like what he had to say about the breaking of the glass, because a lot of people don't know what that's about, and I just really liked it, and yeah, I thought it was just quite a brilliant little sermon he gave there. It was amazing. So anyway, my tale of woe. Yeah. We'll keep reading through the book and we'll find out how that, you know, and the thing about it is, what I really loved about it was in reading it again, when he said, you know, if you do this, if you make every day, you know, the most important day, if you keep this as the most important thing in your life, then every day will be a Rosh Hashanah. And you know what the problem is? We didn't do that. We did not do that. we got distracted by work and career and all kinds of other things, and we did not keep the focus on ourselves. So all of you out there who are still married, do it. Go home and fuck the shit out of your husband.
Mine got a talent.
Yeah, mine is